A'udzubillahiminasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Issues in Language Learning and Teaching. Today we'll talk about the topic issues in teaching English speaking. We'll talk several issues related to the teaching and teaching English speaking. Okay. The first issues is related to the student-related issues. Student-related issues consist of three things. The first one, lack of confidence and anxiety. Again, in whatever skill, when you face the student having lack of confidence and anxiety, for sure it will hamper the learning process. You have to be cautious about it. And then limited motivation. If they have motivation, then you have to tell them. You have to inform the student about the importance of the skill in order to master that one. And then again, when you teach, sometime it will face varied proficiency level of your student. If you have such kind of thing, then you have to be cautious. You have to be able to address this one as good as possible. Otherwise, then it will be demotivating one to another. In one point, the higher proficiency, because you have to practice the load, sometimes it will have very different, or sometimes can influence them. So please be cautious if you have a very proficient level of your student. The next is teacher-related issues. In teaching speaking, for sure, if you are able to speak fluently and so on, it will be very interesting. Then your student will be able to imitate you and make you as a role model. Otherwise, if you are having low proficiency in speaking, for sure it will be a problem. Better for you to improve. And then after that, teaching methodology. In teaching, I think how to teach is very important, and how to teach refers to the teaching methodology. What to teach important, but not not less important is the teaching methodology. How you teach. If you are teaching interesting, so sometimes it will attract your student. And after that, we have also to talk about the classroom management. If you are able to manage the class as good as possible, you arrange the material, the seating, and so on, in a good and comfortable way, it most likely will improve your student teaching learning process. Another issue is related to the curriculum and material issues. In teaching speaking, usually there will be people who have inadequate focus in speaking skill. It's supposed to be able to practice English speaking skill, but they provide some vocabulary continuously, or maybe try to memorize. Yeah, this will be helping thing, but not really focus on speaking skill. So you have to be on cautious of that. And then lack of authentic material. If you like to teach speaking skill, then you have to bring material that is really practiced by native speaker. Otherwise, your student will not be able to practice as what speaker speak. I mean, native speaker speak, and this will be very dangerous as well. And then offer emphasis on accuracy. Yes, accuracy is important, but when you're speaking, just try to practice in order to be fluent. If they are fluent, then they will be able to speak English well. Then for sure, if they are talking with native speaker will be able to understand. If the native speaker don't understand what with your student, then for sure will clarify. If they are fluent, then for sure it will be better understood. Then another issues related to the speaking skills, environmental issues. It is about limited exposure of English outside in classroom. In Indonesian context, I think it is not easy to find exposure of English outside the classroom, but you can create, and I think let's say for instance, in the context of Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta, you can go to American Corner, or you can join English debating club. For sure, I think many things available then it will be a good exposure for you or your student later. And then if you have large classes, large class size, for sure it will also having problem this environment, because too big class, to the class that have a big amount of a big number of students, then it will getting a lesson of the student opportunity to practice. So you have to be able to call you cautious for this. And then the next one, about culture different. Sometimes the different culture, it also will produce different thing, different habit, different pronunciation. Let's say, for instance, you live in Indian culture, you will pronounce differently from Indonesian speaking, Indonesian native speaker, or maybe you'll be very different from Chinese one. So culture different may hamper the speaking skill. So you have also to identify the cultural background of your student. Next, about assessment and feedback issues. In speaking, I think there will be challenge in assessing speaking skill, because it is performance. Sometimes to identify this one is not easy. You have to create the rubric, better rubric. Sometimes because it needs ample time to practice and practice, if you interrupt it for giving feedback, it is not efficient. So because of this kind of thing, this condition, to some extent, it will limit the teacher in giving feedback. This is also not good. You have to provide good feedback or better feedback. Then there are also technological issues. The student who lack access to language learning technology, it will also hamper. And then underutilization of available technology. There are many technology. We have, let's say, VR, visual reality, or and so on. Maybe you have also metaverse that facility to meet, but if never used for practicing, I think this will not be useful. So these technology issues, you have to be able to choose better technology and the useful one and utilized by the user. Culture and linguistic challenge. I think as I give you culture, let's say for instance Chinese tend to say run instead of run, because they tend to replace R with L. This is the thing. You have to be able to process. Or language interference. Your native language interfere in your speaking skill. So this is thing you have to be able to identify and try to find solution for you to practice. The next one about time constraint. When you teach your student with limited classroom time for speaking practice, then for sure it will make your student not having a proficient speaking skill. So that's why you have to be able to balance the curriculum requirement. The curriculum requirement is at the side, but maybe you have to provide another opportunity, time for your student to practice outside class by assigning them to do some tasks. Yeah, this is the thing that we have discussed today. Today talk about the issues in teaching speaking, and we have talked about many issues like time constraint and so on. And you can try to discuss with your friend about this. You may also raise up with the problem that may have not been addressed here. Thank you for today's, and that's all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.